Phil Loader is the Executive Vice President of Woodside for Global Exploration. Phil, Woodside, the largest independent oil and gas company in Australia and the largest producer there. Is it fair to say that you're very much focused on LNG right now?
A large part of the company is obviously LNG. We produce 900,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day on behalf of our partners. We've been in the Northwest Shelf now for almost 30 years and produce 40% of Australia's oil and gas. Following completion of the Pluto project, we now operate 6 of the 7 LNG processing trains in Australia. But having said that, 20% of our production is in oil, and which represents 32% of our revenue in 2012. So we do have oil activities and production as well.
As well as the projects in Australia, the LNG projects coming online and planned, also a number of provinces around the world, East Africa, the United States now looking at exporting LNG. Do you think that the demand globally is robust enough to support all of these coming online? What do you think is going to be happening in the marketplace?
Well, in the Asia-Pacific region, 70% of the world's demand for LNG is still forecast to be in that region. By 2018, Woodside believes Japan and China will still be accessing 40% of their LNG from Australia. So we see the market as very strong. We see many regas terminals being built in the region. We see the commodity price being fundamentally linked to oil price for some time, and it does take time for new markets to establish a reliable source of LNG. So for the foreseeable future, we still see the Asia-Pacific region being a core part of our business.
Another part of the world in which pretty exciting find, the Leviathan field offshore Israel, a massive gas find. Perhaps give us a little background on what's been accomplished there so far, what your plans are there.
Well, we're delighted that we've agreed the principles of our entry. In principle for 30% equity. It's an 18 TCF gas field, which represents one of the largest, most significant gas discoveries in recent years. We're also delighted that the recent High Court decision, which gives us certainty and some clarity on export markets, and it's an asset that allows Woodside to really leverage its core skills in deep water, project execution and LNG. So we're very excited about the opportunity.
Woodside also have a couple of frontier exploration licenses, places like Ireland, Spain, Peru, Brazil, and Myanmar. What do those represent in your portfolio? Where do they sit on a scale of risk and versus impact? What do they mean for you?
It's a good question. In 2012, we established a new strategy which represents 3 core legs: the establishment of and the maintenance of our core business, the leveraging of our capabilities, but also growth, international growth. And in terms of that journey to build a global portfolio, Myanmar and Ireland represented 2 major steps forward in establishing an early footprint into underexplored and unexplored provinces. So this is the start of a growth program for Woodside, which we're very excited about.
Let's talk about Myanmar a little bit, a country that only just opening up in the last couple of years, literally, or even months. What can you tell us about what's happening in that country, what the government's done to invite oil companies, and what do you expect from it?
Absolutely. It's a really exciting time for Myanmar. It's got a lot of challenges ahead. We're very pleased to be an early entrant into Myanmar. We've taken a position in 2 permits in the Rakhine Basin, and it's fundamentally a basin that has been unexplored in the deep water and underexplored on the shelf. So it's an area that we're giving a lot of attention to and have high hopes for in the future.
Now, Phil, you've been in this exploration game for 30 years, always an exploration geologist. What have been is it possible to make any generalizations about the biggest changes you've seen in the industry in the last 30 years?
Yeah, 30 years is a long time. And I guess the rate of change of technology and ideas and concepts is something that we have to grasp on a daily basis. For me, the definition of deep water is a major one. It wasn't that long ago that 200 meters was considered to be deep water. Now we're exploring in water depths up to 3,000. The application of seismic technology and imaging and the allowing us to explore and de-risk prospects prior to drilling, which is important. But then also the revolution around unconventional, which is a game changer for the industry and still calls upon many of the exploration skills that we need for conventional exploration.
And when you look at the industry as a whole, what are the things you're most excited about going forward?
I'm always excited and surprised at the way this industry adapts. Oil discoveries are still being made in places that 10 to 15 years ago the industry would have bypassed, would have ignored. And that really comes down to the cultures of organisations and the ability to set your explorers free. That's something we try to do at Woodside, give our explorers the opportunity for prudent risk management and risk taking. I'm convinced there's new frontiers that are going to be opened in the next 2 or 3 years, and we certainly want to be part of those, some of those.
So you're actively looking at all sorts of opportunities around the globe in your role?
Absolutely. Part of our global, we treat our whole portfolio as a global approach, and our international growth will be treated in terms of where new opportunities fit our strategy, but also how we leverage what we're good at in Australia and continue to build the position in Australia as we have done in the past.
Well, Phil, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.